Hello, everybody. This is just 5 minutes with John and Mark. Got an interesting topic to cover today. We're looking at, are traditional leadership styles still relevant? And I think that obviously we've got the pyramid here, which is part of our methodology, and we work through all the layers. But I think we're looking at the top three layers today: execs, leadership, and management. Well, maybe touching a little bit into personal skills as well. So as we dive into this, we'll look at those different layers and how they can be applied.
And yeah, you probably saw my face going like this as I was flicking that slide on and off there, John. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to set the scene with our traditional styles relevant. I think we've all noticed the biggest change in leadership styles in the last few years compared to, say, 20 years. The leadership styles were fairly steady. Obviously, we're all familiar with command control and status driven and position driven, and they fulfill their function. There were some really good leaders in small teams. There always have been, who galvanize people and collaborate with people, but that collaboration element has become rapidly much more focused on, hasn't it, in the last few years? The changing demand in what a leader is accelerating, I would say. That's what I think. And I think there's a few things we would love to say, John, right, in terms of giving some thoughts about this. Which bits of traditional leadership do we use, and which bits do we kind of move away from?
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing this earlier about traditional styles, and I think that traditional styles have got a lot of relevance still. I remember working for my first boss, and he was the type of person who was a strong leader in a sense that he would make a firm decision and he would stick with it. However, he didn't always consider the people. So I think there's a balance to be had there. And I think that a modern leader will have that awareness of bringing people into the conversation and taking other people's points of view, into play in the decision-making process. But even if they had in mind what they wanted to do, it's about that collaborative feel and making people feel that they're a part of the process, which is important, when it comes for unity.
Yeah, and that's spot on, actually, John. And that is not a traditional skill set. That negotiation and collaboration is more recent, and it's something that some managers are struggling with, and others are doing well at. But learning it, I absolutely agree. It's a move away from a traditional style of, as we've said, just giving instruction. There are a couple of things in traditional styles which I like, and I don't think we should lose. And the one tip or thought I would give is to know where to be uncompromising and where to be firm. Now, I was talking with a group of managers recently, and we were talking about disciplinary interviews, for example. Now, we do have the situation of disciplinary interviews and people who are not performing. Now, I'm not suggesting that we are direct and insist on the solution itself, but we must insist that there is a solution to things like this. We can be uncompromising in saying this has got to change, and I'm happy to collaborate about how, but I'm not going to compromise on the point that it's going to change. And I think it's for the traditional element of really clear direction and very, very decisive. That element is great as long as we're doing it on the principle. We're not getting into the detail, we're not dictating every moment, but we are really clear on the high level principle that is not compromised, such as productivity, treating each other well, treating the customer well, getting the project in on budget, getting it in on time. These kind of things, they're non-compromisable, and that's a traditional style which I think we should keep.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Sometimes you just got to have that attitude of this needs to be done, and yeah, no, I agree with you, and I respect a leader who's able to do that. I go back to somebody I worked with a few years ago in the legal profession. Actually, they were the type of leader, let's say, traditional in that industry, but I think traditional of most leaders, in the sense that they were very focused on the outcome and targets that we had, to the sense that people's home lives, their family lives, you know, their well-being wasn't considered. It certainly wasn't considered to be important.
Right.
You know, I remember being asked to work a 7-day week, considering I've been working for, you know, 10 to 12 hours a day. You know, it was yeah, it was quite it was quite exhausting, and you know, my results started to drop. But I think the point is that there is a place for that. There is a place for, I guess, let's get our heads down and let's really focus. We need to push through. Yes,
Sure.
but a modern leader is going to have that balance. They're going to be
Yeah.
they're going to be interested in someone's well-being. They're going to be looking out. They're going to have their staff's back. They're going to make sure that they've got a balance between, you know, work and family life. And I think that for me is the, well, it's a nice difference of the modern age.
And I think for me that summarizes it, John. I think the modern age is requiring leaders to be much more emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
And that's the summary of it, that there have always been really good emotionally intelligent leaders, but it's now becoming a requirement across the board that leadership includes that element of skill. Why? Because it makes sense economically. If we can tap into people's emotions, we work better, we work harder, we get stuff done. It's actually a lot more productive to be that kind of leader. So that was John and Mark. Thank you very, very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for the time. We do look forward to seeing you next time.